The daily code snippet. In addition to using semantic markup, we add the caption element. The caption element is used to describe the table's purpose. This allows users to decide whether they need to read the rest of the table or if it can be skipped, especially if using an assistive device that will read data cell by cell. The scope attribute can be added to the table heading elements to reinforce the role to improve the user's experience. At times, assistive devices draw the wrong conclusion of the role, so the scope provides clarification. The scope attribute has a value of col when it is a header element for a column, and the value of row when it is a header element for a row. So it specifies the top of the column and the first element of a row. So if we go back to our previous example, this is how we can improve its accessibility. So you can see with this new code, we have added a caption that explains that this table is partial patient demographic and owner information. And we have added scope attributes to all the heading elements and have specified whether it is a column heading element or a row heading element. Again, we really don't see a lot of external changes with how we have adjusted our code, other than the presence of a caption and the new language in our footer. These measures help on the back end with accessibility and assistive devices. Using colspan and rowspan attributes allows cells to span more than one column and row. To reiterate this point, it may be aesthetic to sighted users to not see repeated data, but since the information on a table is read to a user using an assistive device, the order helps the user understand to which column or row the data belongs. So if a column or row is skipped, it can cause confusion. So to make a table more accessible, it is preferable to avoid using these attributes. If it is required to use these attributes to present complicated data, then it is preferable to break up the data into smaller related tables that would allow you to avoid using the colspan or rowspan attributes. So if we go back to our previous example, this is how we can improve its accessibility further. Here we have added our footer note to our caption, so the user using an assistive device understands that more information can be requested without having to go through the entire table. And we no longer use the colspan attribute, and the table does not need a footer. And here is how it would look. So we have spent the last few weeks taking a look at key ways to make your websites more accessible. Here's a quick review. 1. Use alternative or alt text so that those with disabilities can access media content that they are unable to view. The content should be described and its purpose on the site explained. 2. Provide transcripts for all media content. 3. Clearly state the primary language of your website and identify instances where other languages are being used on your website. 4. Use good structure when building your website. A consistent and organized layout makes your website easier to navigate, and good markup with clean code will make it better understood for those using assistive devices. 5. We introduced WAI ARIA and how it works beyond HTML5 to make your websites more accessible. ARIA labels are used to define all your navigation, links, and buttons so that the users understand what will happen if a link or button is clicked. ARIA landmarks help with the organization of your site and contribute to creating good structure. 6. Do not use tables for layout, but only to represent tabular data, and how to make your tables accessible using semantic markup to identify table headers, footers, and main content. The TH element to identify columns and rows, and the scope attribute to add additional clarification for assistive devices like screen readers. 7. Similarly, we discuss how to use labels to make our forms clear to our users so that they understand what each input and button is doing. 8. Finally, consider consulting an attorney who specializes in disability law anytime you are concerned that you are not doing enough with regards to ADA compliance. Although we can help you get on the right track, this is not a substitute for legal advice. Presented by Designers Learn Code.